Hey guys, welcome to Swordsman stage, home of the weapon trials. Yes, forced weapon usage. Also post commentary. I'm going to blame the mini boss. Yes, Gear in the Eye. I blame him. The first weapon trial is the tornado hold trial, which is to the top left. You only need to use one use of this weapon. And this is that place. Some people will have to use it here, but there is actually a way to slide this lock into place, like that, without having to use a second use of Tornado Hold. The second weapon trial I'm going to go for is the Thunderclaw. Again, just one use of the Thunderclaw is required. As you can see, you can actually push those locks with the Mega Buster, and default weapon gets priority over special weapons. This is that part. Right here. Don't know why, but that seems like a harder grapple for me to get than the ones in Swordsman stage. The third trial is the Ice Wave Challenge. Again, only one usage is required. I need to mention that as I do this particular room, you're going to see me stop. And the reason for that is quite simple. If I advance the screen, the fire mets that are beyond will actually get hit and damaged by the ice wave. So I actually stop the screen so that it doesn't kill them, because that would constitute, in my opinion, as breaking the Buster Only rule. This one's kind of funny in the sense that you don't actually have to use the weapon for this trial, which is the Flash Bomb. You just brute force the puzzle. So I always start off with a 1, 2, 3 pattern, and every now and then it doesn't seem to work, but in this case it did. Gear in the Eye is the biggest problem in this stage. Biggest, not the hardest, but the biggest. Believe it or not, this guy takes 40 hits. And he has 2 phases, 20 damage per phase. The first phase is actually pretty easy. It's the second phase that becomes obnoxiously difficult. And obnoxious is probably the proper word for this. Believe it or not, it looks like I don't hit him, because sometimes the flashing doesn't work. That, unfortunately, is due to frame droppage when recording. A problem I hope to have fixed soon. The fight doesn't really start to become difficult till after the hammer comes into play. And that's right here. The reason why this guy is so obnoxious is the fact that you have to wait for him to fire at you and then you can shoot him. You can be risky if you want and try to attack him. Problem is the speed at which he closes up and the speed of your shot often ends up colliding with his outer shell, causing missed shots. Yeah, it's the no miss rule that's the problem with this guy. And the constant waiting between attacks. Like if he does this little hammer pound thing, it's just wasting time. Speaking of wasting time, this surprisingly is a longer video than Grenade Man. And it's mostly attributed to this mini-boss. He seems to like doing that 2 times in a row. He tends to like doing that a lot. And here I was thinking Ururum was the most obnoxious mini-boss. Yeah, I guess I should have looked further ahead at Girna Eye. I did mention this guy takes 40 shots to kill, right? That's about as much health as a full-blown robot master. Here's a cool trick. Yep. Once he's dead, you can actually get inside and just be ready, waiting to grab that power-up. Surprising, this is the halfway mark for the stage, but it's also, thankfully, the easier part of the stage. I mean, we're done with the mini-boss, and we're done all the weapon trials. So it has to be easy, right? This section can kind of be sped running a bit. As you can see, I don't have to kill even all the succubatons. Their targeting AI is kind of exploitable. Also, the button was broken there. I had to, jump on it twice to get it to unstick. One very annoying succubaton. And no, I didn't miss a shot there. You can go back and look. You'll see that the enemy takes one shot, so the other one did connect with him just off screen. This one right there. That second to last succubaton is such that it's not low enough for you to shoot from ground level, and it's not high enough for you to jump shoot reliably. It's unfortunately some luck.
Nothing personal, but I've got orders.
Nothing personal, but I've got orders too.
Fire slash.
Are you gonna call it every single attack you do?
Impressive.
I know it's impressive. I even impressed myself. Well, isn't that interesting? You decide to drop the big tiki head on me. Is that Final Strike or Divide and Strike? It sounds like Final Strike, but I can also see it as Divide and Strike. Flame Sword is pretty easy to understand. We're almost done. Just you in the way. Can you just, like, die? Please? It's not personal. Just, orders. Fire slash again. I have to admit, though, that's actually a pretty cool attack. Where do you get all these tiki heads from? Seriously. Who's up there tossing them down?
Nice shot.
Oh yeah? What about the other shots? They were nice too, you know. I like the concept of the weapon trials, but I feel it should not be put into a Robot Master stage. A Wily stage or a special stage like the one in Mega Man Base is a better place for it. The final lock in the Tornado Hold trial has to be unlocked using only the Buster. 5 shots to be exact. The Buster only rule dictates, the only time you are allowed to use another item or weapon is when there is no other option available. And please don't mention the Ositsu Osaretsu at the end of Nitro Man's stage. I've already stated my reason for breaking the Buster only rule in that video. The Thunderclaw trial has one forced use of the Thunderclaw at the end, but connecting it reliably is a pain. I felt like my accuracy was like 50% at best. This trial, believe it or not, was the hardest one for me to complete. The last two trials were pretty trivial in comparison to the first two I mentioned. Nothing worth mentioning that hasn't already been said. It honestly was the trial of the mid-boss, Girna Eye, that had me rerunning the stage over and over. The first half of the fight is pretty straightforward, but as soon as the second phase begins, that fight goes from manageable to downright evil. Why do you ask? Missed shots. In the second phase of the fight, Girna Eye will open up, but only for a moment. This signals the Kalgameda in the background to attack. The attack is not the problem. Shooting Girna Eye's weak point during this move often results in a missed shot, because of the small amount of time that the weak point is exposed. The second problem is sometimes Girna Eye will look like it's on the same level as you, but it's actually higher, and your shot would just hit the bottom shell instead. Dodging fireballs, jumping across the platforms, avoiding the Kalgameda gives you so little time to judge correctly where Girna Eye's position is. In the end, I decided to just go slow and careful. I seriously underestimated the difficulty of this mid-boss. Towards the end of the stage, there's a single succubaton that requires a very tricky low jump shot to kill. To finally beat the mid-boss, to get past all the trials, and to miss a shot at this thing is so soul-crushing, it's not even funny. Girna Eye alone is a 4 to 5 difficulty-wise. It's the combined difficulty of the mid-boss and the stage that gives Swordsman's stage the difficulty rating that you see now. Do you know the feeling you get when your heart is racing because you finally get to the boss after the nightmare that is the stage? Well, that feeling actually caused me 2 failed runs against Swordsman. He's not that hard. You just have to remember that his lower body is invulnerable, so shooting him from the ground level will ding your shots. He is purely just a reaction fight. I apologize about the length of the video. The stage was far longer than I anticipated. Stay tuned as we bring Mega Man 1 to 10 to a close, as we only have one Robot Master left. So until the next video, take care.